Hi, this is Savannah,
And this is Brian from the Dorky Diva Show,
and you're listening to Star Wars.
the best place for below average Star Wars.
In a world where people need 80s and 90s movie reviews, two regular Geordies combine forces to bring you the Brother to Brother 80s and 90s movie review podcast. Check them out on Twitter, YouTube, and all decent podcast vendors.
Star Wars, best place for below average Star Wars.
Hello there, and welcome to the Star Wars Show, the best place for below average Star Wars. I am the Geordie Jedi Pete, and I am joined by Jason Hondo Lane. Jason, how are you doing?
Really good, Pete. Glad to be back. Nice to finally be talking Star Wars with you for a bit.
We're going to be talking Star Wars, we're going to be talking Lucasfilm, we're going to be talking Indiana Jones, we're going to be talking Big Bob returns at Disney. It's going to be a crazy session. First of all, though, it's been a while since we spoke, so how are you? Are you doing all right? I know we've had some bad asthma lately. I hope you haven't been sounding like Darth Vader too much.
I certainly have. It's quite scary at the moment, but I'm getting a lot better. I apologise. I do sound a little bit croaky at the moment, but yeah, no, all positives. And yeah, I've been. The one good thing is that whilst I've been ill, I've managed to rewatch both seasons 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. So I've made good use of my time whilst I was feeling ill.
Very good quality time, very good quality time. You should get yourself a Darth Vader helmet to wear as well.
Yeah,
Treat yourself.
I need I need to get on with my Mando bucket. It's simple as that. But there's a slight issue with that in that I need to sand it down, and as soon as you start sanding, that doesn't affect your lungs very well, and so I've got a catch 22.
Yeah, I was going to say, for those who don't know, obviously Jason is working on a Mandalorian outfit. Will it be ready for celebration, Jason?
No, I don't think it is, but I am working on a costume of sorts for celebration.
Fantastic. And hopefully it's not X-rated and family-friendly.
Oh, definitely. No, I wouldn't want to scare the kids.
No. Good. We don't want you getting arrested. But no, let's just dive in. I think one of the biggest things that's happened since we last spoke was Bob Chapek, who, was the CEO of Disney, the Walt Disney Company, they've replaced him with Bob Iger. Bob Iger returns. My opinion, Bob Iger is probably the greatest CEO in Walt Disney Company history. He's probably the greatest CEO in the world. And obviously, he did a lot for Disney, purchased Marvel, purchased Lucasfilm. He delivered them Disney Plus, did a lot for the parks, obviously, the big park expansions. Rolled off into the sunset. And, Bob Chapek's, took over from the greatest CEO of all time. They've had a pandemic to deal with. After the after effects of the pandemic, I think some of the decisions that weren't that good, I think especially in the theme parks, taking away Fast Pass, even making people stay at the resorts pay for park and things like that. A couple of things with Disney Plus and what was going on there and things like that. I think, and the shareholders have spoken and the board members have spoken and, Bob Iger's back. I think it's on a 2-year deal and I think, it's to put Disney, sort out the Disney company, so I think look to train his successor. My first thoughts when I heard this was, fantastic. I love Bob Iger. He was a big part in the Star Wars movies coming back to cinemas. He's part of watching those dailies, reading those scripts for the first movies in the Disney era. So it's good to have him back. I think his first call probably would have been to Kathleen Kennedy to say, what have you got in regards to pushing a movie into production, because we want Star Wars in our cinemas as well as on Disney Plus, but we also want it in our cinemas. So I think that would have been one of the first calls, would have been that. Jason, what was your first thoughts when you saw Bob Iger was back?
Yeah, obviously Bob Iger for me is a big hero anyway. I think the guy, what he's done over the years has been absolutely astounding. The state that he left Disney in, I think just goes to show how much he'd achieved. And to see the issues, admittedly, the pandemic has thrown in some issues that I don't think any CEO could have really sort of predicted. And it was always going to be hard for someone to deal with that. But the one thing that I've seen, heavily criticised is obviously that Bob Chapek was a money man, so more about the numbers, whereas Bob Iger is more about the creativity. And the heart of Disney is about creativity. So I think, yeah, whoever steps into that job really needs to understand Disney as a company, because it is like no other company, and you'll never get another company like it. So yeah, it's exciting that Bob's back. He's done a lot in the past. The way that he set up Disney Plus before he left, and the acquisitions of Marvel, Lucasfilm were genius. Some could say he's built a monopoly almost over the film industry, but it's the creativity of Disney that I think lends it to that industry. It allows people to be creative. So yeah, he's got a hard couple of years ahead of bringing everything back together. But I definitely think he's the man to do it. And I know, from talking to other people that know people around Disney, that there's a lot of confidence. And it sounds like there's a lot of enthusiasm to give him the support as well. And when you're in a job like that, you need the support of the people around you. And I think that was one of the things that was really lacking. Once you lose that support, then you haven't got a chance.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the biggest things I think is that I think Bob Iger's back. I think Disney Plus was his sort of going away present to the Walt Disney Company. He purchased Marvel Studios, he purchased Lucasfilm, he'd done the Fox merger, he purchased Fox Entertainment. Again, all that was ideas to have content for Disney Plus, which is allowed that to be one of the better streamers out there. But he's back, and I think he said they need to put the power back and control of the creatives. If we create good things, then people will come. People will go to the cinema to watch it. People will subscribe to watch it on Disney Plus. If you build something good in the theme park, people will come and see it. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I think the biggest thing Star Wars wise, I think you'll be on the phone to Kathleen Kennedy, as I said, to say what have we got that we can put into production to make a movie. Let's get Star Wars back in cinemas. Let's start making that now. And I think the other one is that Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel and how much it costs and what can we do with that to get people in this thing and to use it and for people
Yeah,
to enjoy it and get the money's worth out of it without having to pay through the nose for it, I think, are going to be the few things. And you moving on from that, obviously Big Bob was announced, and then sort of a week later we've got the next news topic, which is Daisy Ridley being at Lucasfilm Limited. She obviously shared on social media that she was at Lucasfilm. She then claimed that after causing massive series online, she then claimed it was just for a lunch. What do you make of this, Jason? Was it just for a lunch, or do you think it was a bit more of a talking about what the future could hold for Rey Skywalker?
I'd like to hope that it is what more could the future hold. Because the one thing with Star Wars is we've now got the situation, obviously, and one of the things we're going to talk about in a minute is Acolyte, which is obviously going into the past of the Star Wars universe that we know. But then there's also we've stopped at Rise of Skywalker, but there is a demand to find out what happened after Palpatine was finally defeated. What happened to those that were left, and obviously, how did they deal with the losses that they had? And I think, yeah, there's a big place. There's and this is the thing with Star Wars, and this is the thing that I think Andor's shown, is there's so many different stories and types of genres that can be explored in the same galaxy. We're looking at more political intrigue with Andor, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And yeah, I'd love to see, what does Rey do after Palpatine's gone? Does she become a great Jedi? Does she do similar to Luke and turn her back because of what she's been through? You know, and that's got such potential that they'd be silly not to be talking to her. And let's face it, Daisy Ridley is a really, really good actress, and she brought a lot to that character and has the potential to lead on with a whole new, you know, I don't want to say a trilogy because I don't think they need to do. I don't even think it needs to be put into trilogies anymore. The whole just continuous storytelling is the way to go with Star Wars. It is, it's it's poetry.
Yeah, I think you got to think, in a few years it'll be 2025, and it'll be 10 years since The Force Awakens came out.
Yeah,
And I think, if we're going to be looking to make movies around then we probably need to be speaking to people now. So I think, for me, I think it was more of a check-in, see how she is, talk a few maybe ideas that they might have, and when and where they might do it. Nothing concrete, but just checking in. I imagine she's very interested in it. Um, she's worked a little bit since Star Wars, but not loads. She is a very good actress, um, and I think it would be silly not to come back. And I think, if we talk about in a few years' time, they then put something in development and then something into production, and we see it come out around 2030. That's probably a good 15 years since Force Awakens came out, which is enough breathing space and also enough time away from the character and then tell the next part of the journey. Daisy herself will be a bit older, the character out really a bit older. You probably bring back John Boyega as well, for them to be the Jedi duo in there. And you probably look at this new Jedi Order type of thing in the galaxy, perhaps. So I'm very excited. I think it was, again, I don't think it was just a lunch. I think it was a check-in to be like, here's what we're thinking. Here's a few different ideas. What are you thinking? In like maybe possible time frames. Like, this is where we're looking, and maybe start going into the production. Here's where we're
I,
start. Here's where we're looking to start developing this. Now I think it would make sense to, there's a lot going on at the minute with Mandoverse and Ahsoka and Andor, and Tales of the Jedi, and there's a lot of stuff going on. So I honestly think you could literally wait a couple of years before you start developing it properly. You literally bring it out around 2030, and that gives you like a 15-year breather from the start of the last trilogy that she was starting, and then from there on, you've got the kids that grew up with Rey will be teenagers or just adults, and then the Star Wars will be back with her, and then you get that excitement again. So I think it makes sense in my eyes to do it that way.
yeah, definitely. I think it was quite literally a case of giving some food for thought. And what better way than going to Lucasfilm and having a nice meal and having a photo taken with the Yoda statue?
Indeed, definitely. Speaking of obviously Lucasfilm, what's been going on. Also, one of the big things a minute is Cassian Andor, getting, from what I've seen, just praise from everywhere. To me, it's like the Breaking Bad of Star Wars storytelling. Like, it's sort of the episodes aren't that long, but there's more of them than the normal Star Wars seasons. I think we spend that time with the characters, sort of seeing how they tick, seeing them in moments of peril, moments of doom, moments of where they're about to make a decision that's going to change their lives forever. I thought it was very, very Breaking Bad-esque, which I love. I love Breaking Bad. So it was good to see that type of storytelling in the Star Wars universe. I think it fit really well, and I really, really enjoyed Andor. I thought 12 episodes. I was like, we're getting 12 episodes instead of the 6 or the 8 that we've had in the past Star Wars series on live action, and then got to the end and it finished. Now it got to the week after, and then I almost felt a bit empty that there wasn't a new Andor to watch. I don't know how you felt, Jason, but it was a bit weird not having the new one.
Yeah, I think I discussed this with you a few weeks ago. That it sort of left me. I enjoyed it to the point that I wanted to continue with the story. And it's frustrating that now we got to wait a while. But at the same time, I think the story is so well worth telling, and the cast was absolute. You know, they were phenomenal. Fiona Shaw that woman is genius, and I absolutely loved her. And I think she brought a real gravitas. Um, Luthen, obviously, Stellan Skarsgård was brilliant. I, s- I did feel some of the Mon Mothma stuff. I don't think it was used to the full potential, but I think that's building. Um, and yeah, I'm just really looking forward to it. And it is frustrating that we got to wait so long, but I think it's going to be worth it. And in the long run, it's like I say, having recently binge watched literally Book of Boba Fett and The Mandalorian, when you see them all together, they sort of almost become a film universe in themselves. And it is, I think, Star Wars storytelling at the moment, um, with the television side, is phenomenal. I cannot wait for Ahsoka. Um, but that always was going to be one of my favourites because she's one of my favourite characters, and obviously Rebels is my favourite storyline. To see that carried on, yeah, I'm itching for that. I'm also itching for the Return of the Bad Batch, which we're not far off of now. So yeah, I have to say Disney Plus and what they've done has done Star Wars a world of good in my mind. And but I would like to see them also start to take the film side of it and start, producing some really good films. But at the same time, I don't know if you've whether you've seen the first two episodes of Willow, and what they've done with that is absolutely amazing. And I'm glad that they're giving it the extra time because I don't think it would have done it justice if it had been a film.
Yeah, I haven't seen Willow yet. That's on my list of things to do. But I've heard really good things about it, so I'm excited to check that out when I do get a chance. Um, Speaking of Andor, I think I love season one. What's the three things you're most looking forward to seeing happen in season two, Jason?
Um, I think one of the things is going to be obviously the introduction of K2SO, which I think everyone's looking forward to, and it's going to happen. It's just the timing. Also, I'm looking forward to see how the Luthen story progresses, and I'm also looking forward to see how Andor's sort of built his way up in, and how the rebels start to form as an organisation. Um, I have to admit, when I look at it, they've got a tall task for another 12 episodes to do all that in.
Yeah, so from what I've heard that there's going to be time jumps in between the arcs. So I think it's going to be like
Yeah,
4 episode arcs, and there's going to be time jumps in between them. So I'm hoping we get. I want to see Cassian become a big part of the Rebel Alliance intelligence. I want to see him become a I've forgotten the name of them. What Ahsoka was a Fulcrum. We know
yeah,
that he's been a Fulcrum in the past, so I want to see him sort of become a Fulcrum agent and be Fulcrum for a bit. I want to see him meet K2SO and have that altercation and have that reprogramming. I wonder if he uses B2 Emo's mind to put inside K2SO. Who knows? Probably not, but who knows? We've seen him love a droid in season one, so will he love a droid in season two? Maybe. And I think we'll get that moment where he sort of uses some of B2 EMO's memory banks to make K2SO, very similar to what Lando did with the Falcon and in his droid, maybe. But yeah, I'm really excited to see Andor and integrating it in the rebellion and doing the gritty side of things. I'm really excited to see where Mon Mothma goes. Obviously, I really enjoyed seeing Mon Mothma sort of, she doesn't get dirty because she's not in the front lines, but you see her sort of the sacrifices she's making as a family, a daughter, um, for the rebellion, which is probably one of the biggest things you can sacrifice. So I'm interested to see where that goes. I really hope she kills her husband, or she gets someone to kill her husband, or her husband dies, because he's a prick in this first season. So I hope he goes one. Hopefully the Empire do him, and the Empire blame him for the money after she set that up in season one about the gambling. But we'll see. And I'm excited to see how Cyril and Dedra get on. Obviously, we've seen hints of that sort of domineering relationship she has over him. But then we seen that moment when he saved her. She was like wanting to say sorry to him, and that was weird. But there's definitely tension there, possibly sexual tension. I think I'm not sure, but there's definitely something going on between them two, and I think I can see that being developed again in the second season of Andor. So we'll probably have to wait a while for it. There'll be plenty of Star Wars in the meantime to keep it going. You mentioned Bad Batch, Jason. Do you know when that's coming out? Has that got a date yet?
Oh, I should know this. I'm pretty sure it's not long after Christmas.
Because we
Uh,
know Mandalorian's coming back for season 3 in March.
yeah. Hang on, I'm pretty sure there's a Bad Batch update.
Because Bad
Um,
Batch is finished. It's in the bag. We know that.
I wanted to say that it's the end of February, actually, thinking about it, but no, because that would tie in too closely to Mando. Um,
Yeah, I doubt they
so
would show them so close together, but maybe they will. Who knows?
let's have a look. When's it due? No, premieres 4th of January.
There we go. So we're getting Bad Batch in January. That'll take us up to March. We'll have a few weeks
Yeah.
off probably, and then we'll get Mandalorian season 3. Fantastic, great stuff.
So,
Yeah, I think very exciting time. We've just come out of Andor. We're going to be getting Bad Batch in January, and then before
yeah,
long, Mandalorian's back with season 3, and that's going to be a huge season. I think Mandalorian season 3 a huge season, the biggest season yet, I think. So that'll be very, very interesting. Obviously, no announcements this week was the lead actress of Acolyte, who I believe is called Daphne Keane, who she played the female lead in Logan, the movie. She was like the little girl version of Weapon X of the Wolverine. She's in this, and she's said this week to media outlets that it's going to be Sith led. So it's going to be the first Sith led sort of live action television production in Star Wars history, which is fantastic. We sort of already guessed that with it being set 100 years before the Phantom Menace and showing how the Sith sort of integrated into the Jedi and integrated into the Republic, that type of thing. So we're going to see a lot of scheming going on. But what were your thoughts now? We've got that confirmation that it will be Sith led.
yeah. It's always been billed as going to be darker, which then instantly, we knew it was going to be something to do with the Sith. The time period as well coincides with what we know of the Sith. I'm looking forward to seeing how it builds, and it's described, I think, as a thriller type series. So, and I believe it's almost like the Jedi investigating how the Sith are and everything sort of falling into place, how the Sith are coming into being. So I'm looking forward to seeing it from that sort of side of thing, and as I think Obi-Wan and Andor has proven that the darker side of things of Star Wars are very popular, and make for good storytelling. So, and let's face it, when you look at what George Lucas did with the original trilogy and the prequels, the whole machination, the way Palpatine manipulated things, um, that's going to make for exciting television. So yeah, I'm really, and everyone loves a bit of the dark side, and the Sith are always good entertainment.
Definitely, and you know me, I think I've said it already on the podcast that I'm excited to find out a bit more Sith lore, see a bit more Sith artifacts, see the Sith and the Shadow was scheming. I
Yeah,
enjoyed Tales of the Jedi. When we saw Dooku and Palpatine getting his head and twisting them, and even that moment where Yaddle gives him a chance to come back and he doesn't take it, and because Palpatine's already got his claws hooked into him. I'm excited to see that on a different scale in Acolyte. So yeah, very, very exciting with that. Do you think we'll actually see lightsaber battles? Do you think we'll see a Sith igniting a lightsaber inside Acolyte?
looking at the artwork that I've seen, I presume it's genuine sort of poster sort of artwork with the lightsaber on the ground. I hope so, and I would have expected so. Obviously we know from like the High Republic the period that they're looking at is time where the Jedi were at their height. Obviously, then they sort of fell to a certain degree, and yeah, so I certainly would hope there's going to be a bit of because that is one thing that's been missing from a lot of stuff is a bit of the lightsaber dueling. And as you know, I love a good lightsaber duel.
Definitely, I agree. I miss lightsaber duels. I love lightsaber duels. Give me a lightsaber duel any day of the week, and I will enjoy it. My worry is that when we see the Phantom Menace, like the Jedi, it's not going to be the Sith. They're extinct. They've been extinct for millennia, and then it's not until the burying Qui-Gon's noble end, is when they're like, there's no doubt now that it was a Sith. So the fact that it takes that moment to happen, takes Qui-Gon Jinn's death at the hands of a Dark Warrior for them to believe the Sith are back, tells me that maybe if the Sith are fighting in this series, it's not going to be with any Jedi who are there to tell the story or get recorded doing it.
Well, this is the thing, the Jedi clearly is, if as we've seen, that they can cleverly mask their actions when you look at Sifo Dyas. So you've got they could well have all these battles with these Jedi's who mysteriously disappear.
Indeed, indeed. Moving on from Acolyte, obviously big Lucasfilm trailer reveal was this past weekend. We got the Indiana Jones 5 trailer. It's Indiana Jones 5. It is called Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Jason, what were your thoughts on this trailer and how excited are you for the movie?
I cannot explain how excited I am for this movie. It's funny, I've been talking to my good friend Anthony, who, as teenagers, we went through a stage of literally every important film at that time we went to see at the cinema. Um, and one of the ones that we never got to go and see together was, I'm quite glad actually, because it was Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. Um, but obviously, we were both big Indiana Jones fans, and you know, I watched this trailer, and first of all, hearing Salah's voice, John Rhys Davies, who I have to say I have accidentally bumped into before, and the guy is a legend. And I'm hoping this year or next year at a convention, I'm gonna pay to go and have his autograph because the guy, just bumping into him and him saying hello, and it was like, oh my! And for me, straight away, it was not. This is Salah. This is not Gimli. I don't know if you can remember the TV series Sliders, where he played Professor Artura, and that for me was his character. But the guy, and hearing him, seeing him back, because he, for me, was a missing part of the Crystal Skull. I felt, they did the tributes to Sean Connery's character, to Denholm Elliott's character, and Salah was sort of brushed over. And I thought, no, this guy should have been there because he was. So seeing him again, that got me excited. Seeing the way that they've done the de-aging of Harrison Ford for the flashbacks looked absolutely amazing. Admittedly, Harrison Ford still looks pretty good for his age now, but obviously he's got a few more wrinkles that they would have had to smooth out. Um, but also seeing some of the action sequences, and I thought, oh, can Harrison Ford still pull this off? And he can. And then obviously, Phoebe Waller Bridges, is it? Her, I think that's her full
Yep.
name. Seeing her in it, I'm really looking forward to her character because having seen the way she was in Solo, I just think she will bring the comedy back to, because we know from Indiana Jones of the past, obviously Marion Ravenwood, they bounced off of each other. You had obviously Sean Connery and Harrison Ford bounced off of each other brilliantly. And I think that's one of the things that didn't happen with the Crystal Skull was there just wasn't the relationship between Harrison Ford and Shia LaBeouf, or well, I can never remember you pronounce his name, but he just didn't gel with Harrison Ford in my mind, and I'm hoping they've captured it. But I'm really, really excited to see what they've done. I was a bit dubious because I did think my personal feeling after Crystal Skull was they really should have left it at the Last Crusade. But with this one, having seen the trailer, I'm like, yes, I'm ready for this. I am ready for the return of Indiana Jones and his final hurrah.
Final hurrah! We will see if it is or if it isn't. I love the trailer. I love the title. The film some of this up my neck of the woods near Bamborough Castle. I think actually this is where they de-age Harrison in the sprint. There was the shoot wasn't short by any means, so I think we're going to get like more than just flashbacks. I think like like we're going to get some time spent with Harrison in the World War II period fighting the Nazis,
Yeah,
and then we're going to see some of Harrison Ford dealing with the leftovers of the Nazis in the I imagine the 60s. So it looks like. But yeah, the de-aging looked wonderful. I thought Harrison looks great, both de-aged and in real life. I agree with you about Salah. Hearing his voice was fantastic. I love seeing Indy run across the train tops. That was wonderful. Indy riding a horse in the front of a train was fantastic. The car chases looked great. The New York Marathon or whatever it was, or New York Festival looked great. That was about to go down. So a great teaser trailer. That shows a lot of different stuff. Shows Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and she looks she's going to be an integral part to obviously related to Indy. It looks like. All round us excited to be going to see Indiana Jones film next June in cinemas. Going to be fantastic, and I can't wait. Can't wait to see more.
yeah, definitely.
I think that wraps up also of the Star Wars news and Lucasfilm news for the week that we've had. Obviously, I think for me, I'm a bit behind in reading the High Republic. I'm trying to get caught up on that. I'm in the middle of moving house at the minute, so that's been difficult. Have you been reading any Star Wars, Jason, or seen any Star Wars comics or anything lately?
I haven't. It's something again, like yourself. I'm trying to catch up with at the moment. The last couple of weeks, obviously with my health and everything, I've sort of stayed back and sort of tried to just concentrate on me. But I am the next few weeks. That's part of what I want to spend a bit of time doing is doing a bit of reading. I haven't touched on the High Republic yet, and I really need to. So yeah, that's something I've got to look at. Obviously, um, I think you mentioned earlier, and you and I haven't had a chance to talk about it. I missed that show. Was the Tales of the Jedi? That for me was absolutely fantastic series. I'm hoping there's going to be more of that type of storytelling because I want to see more of different Jedi, not just your standard ones. I'd like to see like 2 or 3 stories about Plo Koon, um, obviously Kit Fisto, who else is there? Mace Windu. I'd love to see a little bit more exploration of his character. So that was something that I'm hoping they're going to build on. But yeah, for me, this year, Star Wars is sort of um, took a bit of a back seat, which I need to write for the new year. I think that's going to be my New Year's resolution, is to get more into it. And obviously, we've got Celebration to look forward to, which I know yourself, Kat, and Ian and myself are going to be plotting furiously, hoping to be there to celebrate with everyone and looking forward to looking at the future of Star Wars as well as celebrating the past. One thing I will mention is obviously today we're recording on the 5th, so we're 5 days into the Lego Star Wars Advent calendar. I'm hoping people did this year's one. I think is particularly brilliant. And if you haven't managed to get hold of one, James is kindly revealing every day on Jedi News the advent calendar so you can see what you're missing out on. But also at the same time, there's so much stuff at the moment coming out for Star Wars. Um, it's a lot of fun, and my Christmas list, Santa's going to be very busy, and I think he's going to upset me at some point.
I mean, you divulge a lot of information there, Jason. I just want to go back to Tales of the Jedi. So I thought it was fantastic. We will do a review episode, I imagine, on the pod. I think for me, Tales of the Jedi, you could run infinite series. You could deal with again all those other Jedi who were in that same period of the Clone Wars. Your Kit Fistos, your Plo Koon,
Yeah,
Mace Windows, but you could also do Jedi in the future. You could do Jedi in the past. You could do Luke Skywalker arc. You could do a Rey arc. You could do some of the Jedi from the High Republic era arc. You could literally Tales of the Jedi is so vague. You could literally tell any moment, you could focus on any Jedi in the history of the Jedi Order and tell a little story about them. That's what I'm excited about. I hope they do that in the future because I think that potential is fantastic to do that.
yeah, and again, that is the beauty of Star Wars, and for me, it is since obviously Dave Filoni's become involved. For me, the animation side of it lends itself to the storytelling, um, because they can create these magical worlds with the help of great artists like Dave Filoni, and they can share the stories that there are. And it's like you say, it's infinite with Star Wars. There's so much. Where do they stop? So yeah, no, for me that was really exciting.
Yeah, and I think one more thing as well that I said what we've done with the news, but obviously something I forgot to mention earlier was obviously earlier on in the year, probably last month, we had the figures released for Jedi Survivor, which is the sequel game to Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah,
And then we now know that in a couple of days, in December 8th, there's going to be a game convention where they're going to show the first footage from the game Jedi Survivor. It's going to be set 5 years after the events of the first game, I believe. And there's an image being released on like the EA and Star Wars socials of Cal Kestis. He's holding the lightsaber on one hand. He's got a blaster on his hip, very similar to the figure that got released. So we know that Cal Kestis not only going to have a lightsaber, he's going to have a blaster. So I'm excited for the gameplay ideas of a Jedi with both. I think that's going to be fantastic. It's going to revolutionize the gameplay, make it new. I'm excited for the story. 5-year gap, a lot could happen in 5 years. They have announced a book. There's a book coming out to tell some of that story as well. I wonder
yeah,
if when we Cal away from the rest of the group, maybe they've separated in that time. Maybe we'll see them get back together. Who knows?
yeah. It's that's another one. Me and computer games are pretty. The last game I played was Force Unleashed, so I'm showing my age there. But yeah, the whole Calcaster story, and it looks like they're really building on that. Like you say, putting out the book to accompany it, so they're building this reality. So they've embraced it, and there's a whole new story coming out of Star Wars, similar to what they did previously with the old expanded universe. So I'm glad that they are really following that route and realizing that film and television aren't the only way to explore those stories.
Definitely. So have you not played Jedi Fallen Order?
No,
Are you going to pick it up so you can get caught up ready for the new one?
yeah, I've got so much I need to do at the moment. It's maybe sunk if I can get the kids involved with it as well, then I might stand a fighting chance. But yeah,
I definitely recommend it. The game was it was a beautiful, beautiful looking game. The story was great. The attention to detail is fantastic. You'll stop and stare at it forever. I think the game itself, it wasn't too long.
right,
So I think it was longish, but I think you spend more time looking at all the ancient artifacts in the Star Wars galaxy. I think when you're walking around. So I think you could probably play a level if you could probably do a level a week on air. It's not a level a week, but in part of the story a week. Probably finish it in about a month, maybe. You just play
right.
little bits here and there, but the story's brilliant. I think you'll love the story.
I will have to have a look and see what I can get myself sorted out on. I, as I say, there's so much I need to do at the moment. But the one thing I'm praying for is Lego for Christmas because I'm suffering with withdrawal symptoms at the moment.
Which, if I told you right now that Santa's going to bring you 3 Lego sets, which 3 would it be?
Three, at the moment, the main one I want to get is the Justifier, I think it's called, which is obviously Cad Bane's ship.
Cad Bane ship from the
Um,
Bad Batch.
yeah, because that will I've got I think I've got all of the other Bad Batch kits. And obviously I've got the entire Bad Batch except for Omega. And also I want to get a decent Cad Bane. I have got a Cad Bane Lego figure. So I want to get the newer version as well. Um, what else is there? I would like to get the Mandalorian helmet from the helmet range that they've got out. And I'm trying to think what else. Oh, I would love to get the Razor Crest UCS, but that's never going to happen because one, I can't afford it, and two, I haven't got enough room in my flat for it.
Yeah, it's a very big piece, isn't it? You've got to commit to that space, commit to that real estate. Um, and speaking of Lego, obviously, 5 days into the Lego Advent calendar, what's been your 2 favourite ones you've built so far out of the Advent calendar?
Well, I've got it here. Um, my problem is I've been very naughty and I've actually done the whole advent calendar already.
No spoilers.
Uh,
We can only talk about the ones that
no
we're
spoilers.
We can only talk about the ones that
So
we're
I'm trying to think which ones I've got it here. Um, where's the? Obviously, you've got one of the. That's it. You've got the clone trooper. I really do like that model.
See where the
Um,
jumper, Christmas jumper or something?
no, this is just a plain clone trooper. The
Right.
ones wearing this isn't a spoiler because it's been revealed everywhere. The ones wearing the Christmas jumpers are R2, C3PO, and Darth Vader.
I
Well,
see.
Darth Vader's actually wearing the T-shirt from the holiday special.
Fantastic. Great bit
Um,
of continuity there.
yeah, as I say, the whole thing, and also they've done obviously tie in with Empire. They've done the whole Hoth thing. So you've got the Luke Skywalker figure, and you've got the archway where he's suspended in the air upside down, as if he's about to be attacked by the Wampa.
Oh, fantastic. That sounds beautiful.
So that's just a nice. They really have pulled out the full bag with this one, I think. And you've got a nice mix of some good minifigures, some nice fun micro builds, and then obviously some nice little display pieces. And just to mention again with the Jedi news, as well as doing the Star Wars advent calendars, James is also covering the Star Wars Funko, which is quite interesting to see the mini Funkos. Guardians of the Galaxy one, which is I don't know if anyone's managed to see the holiday special on Disney Plus at the moment, but that is absolutely brilliant. And I think he's doing the Harry Potter one, and I want to say he's doing the Lego City and Lego Friends, so he's covering quite a lot. I think it's something like 168 doors he's got open over the next few weeks. But it's quite interesting to be able to look at the different things that are available for people at the moment. I know I bang the door for Lego a lot, and I always will do. But I think this year they've really pulled out the bag with some of the stuff that they've brought out, and obviously, oh, that was the other thing that he's got on there. Disney have released via the Disney Store a droid build. So the droid builder factory, so you can build a droid over the 24 days. So that's also quite a cool kit. And I've seen online quite a few people have invested in that. So again, something a little bit different. If you don't fancy Lego, why not build a droid?
And have you got any of that Star Wars merchandise you picked up?
Um, no, what have I done? I've got the latest is as I say, building towards Celebration. I haven't bought any t-shirts lately. I've been very well behaved. I think one of the last things I bought was my Obi-Wan and Darth Vader brickheads, which again were brilliant. So at the moment, no, I'm saving myself. I got to start saving the pennies ready for Celebration because I'm sure I'll want to purchase some stuff on
Yeah.
there.
I picked up
Um,
some vintage Star Wars. So I bought it in the vintage Star Wars book on Facebook the other day. So I've got the vintage
yeah.
R2D2 and a vintage Chewbacca. Got a good deal on
Oh,
those, so
nice.
they're getting posted out this week. And then also, I don't know if you remember these figures from the 90s. They did the Bendums, the Star Wars Bendums, like rubber bendy figures. So there was
Oh,
a deal.
yeah.
There was a deal for 4 of them on one of the Facebook groups. So I've got like 4 of them arriving. So I can I'm getting Han Solo, C2PO, Adam Blackbar, and Tusken Raider all mint on card. Mint-ish on card, all arriving as well. So they haven't arrived yet, but they're my little purchases I've made in the groups. Made some deals, some good
Oh,
deals. I got good deals on them, so I'm excited for them arriving.
I've just thought of something. I don't think I've even spoken to you about it, but it's something that I know we on the Jedi News crew were talking about. There's some really good deals going around at the moment on the Black Series Trapper Wolf helmets and also some of the other helmets. Trapper Wolf, I think you can pick up that one for 72 quid.
Where's that at?
Um, that's on Zavi, I believe, but I think most of the other websites are starting to match it on price. So yeah, that's something I may have to over the next few weeks jump on that one again. That's one I would like to get because obviously I'm a big Dave Filoni fan. I'd quite like to take that helmet and just see if I could get Dave Filoni to sign the box or something like that.
Yeah, that would be pretty awesome. That would be pretty awesome. Another one is that Saw Gerrera, the Black Series Deluxe figure. I've seen them in Smith's Toys for £15, so well below
Oh,
that
that's good.
RRP. So definitely, if anyone wants Saw Gerrera Deluxe Series, Black Series, check out your local Smith's Toys because, like I said, I've seen them and I picked them up for £15, which was a great deal. I picked them up like a couple of months ago, but he's still about. You can still get him.
Yeah.
But I think that brings an end to this week's episode. Jason, have you got any closing points?
No, I think I'm hoping. I'm pretty sure we'll be recording before Christmas. So yeah, obviously we got a lot to look forward to over the next couple of months, and we got a lot of building up to go. So I'm just looking forward to the Star Wars future.
Indeed, indeed. The future of Star Wars has never looked better. We are indeed in the golden age of Star Wars, as I like to say. But
Yeah.
no, thanks very much for joining us, Jason. Everybody listening, thank you very, very much for listening. Jason, let the people know where they can find you on social media.
Oh, I knew you were going to do this to me, and it's been such a long time. I think
So it's at Hondoling on Twitter, on Instagram, I believe.
yeah, that's it. Thank you, Pete. I've got so many different things, but that's my Star Wars ones.
It is indeed. And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jolly Jedi Pete. You can find the podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Star Wars Podcast. You can also find the podcast on Twitter at Boars Star. If you listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please leave us a top review. It makes us feel really happy. It also helps other people find the show. If you're listening on any other type of podcast app, we are available everywhere. That has a rating system again. Please leave us a top review. Only takes you a few moments, but it makes us smile forever, is what I'll say. But no, thank you very much for listening, everyone. May the force be with you. And remember, always tell that to Kanja Club.
Hello, Star Wars listeners. This is Savannah Odit. You might know me as host of The Dorky Diva Show with my co-host Brian Balance. I am also producer of The Adventures of the Zolan Dart, which is a Star Wars-inspired audio drama that we produced over the last year. If you love stories about smugglers, courage, heroic characters, and maybe a few foes along the way, you should go to thedorkydivashow.com and listen to The Adventures of the Zolan Dart today.
Shout! We've got your pigs.
Were any of the critters harmed?
What did you do now?
I didn't do anything. I just freaked out for no reason.
It was nice doing business with you again. Maybe next time we could deliver something less... temperamental.
Now, what you call temperamental, I call fun.
Hey, is there a place nearby where I can make some repairs?
3 clicks south of here, you'll find a small spaceport. They should have what you need, as long as it's nothing too big.
Dynamic class? My stars, you don't hear about many of those still being space-worthy.
It's been in my family for a while.
She's pretty great. Any chance you have a hover cart we can use to load up?
I'll check out the HoloNet to see if anything new has come up in the sector.
My name is Sereth Kol. I am the chief here on Kamai. My people and I have been experiencing food shortages as of late due to unforeseen natural occurrences. We are looking to hire someone.
I say we take this one. The pay is great, and it's the type of job we're familiar with.
Welcome. You must be Captain Otoa. I've already sent word to Pac 2 to expect you in the next cycle or so.
You told him we were coming before we even accepted the job. That's rather presumptuous, isn't it?
Perhaps, though once I received confirmation that you were interested and on your way here, I couldn't help but hope.
Fair enough. Well, we'll be back as soon as we can.
Well, that's not good.
Is that blaster fire I hear?
So you're the one.
Captain, it sounds like they want to do this the hard way.
I love when they got some fight in them.
This is bad. This is bad.
We're about to have a lot of company.
I'll see you soon.